Seriously, it would have been very, very painful. Because that means I just have to like go back and record the class again. So destructuring is going to make your whole life a lot easier as a JavaScript programmer. And as we know, there are two most used data structures in JavaScript. The first one is the object data structure, which we actually talked about. And the second one is what? Is array. So these are data structures in JavaScript that we already know. Destructuring assignments allows you to assign the properties of an array or the properties of an object to variables using syntax that looks similar to an array or an object literal. That's a mouthful, right? Oh, it is plenty. Destructuring assignment is a special syntax that allows us to unpack arrays or objects into a bunch of variables, and sometimes that is much more convenient for you as a developer. You know, object allows us to create a single entity, like the person object I created the other time. You know, object allows us to create a single entity that stores data items by keep or by property, and arrays allows us to, you know, gather data items into an ordered collection. So as a refresher, I can do something like, let's do something like, okay, let's use let. If I do let object equals something like this is an object, and the name of that particular object is read1, and his age is, let's say, 13, and is rich. Is he rich? No, let's say false. So this is an object, like something we already know. An array is something like, let's use new array. If we do new array, we can have a lot of items here. We can have fruits, we can have, what else? We can have cars, we can have anything. So object allows us to create, this is an object, to create a single entity that stores data items by key or by property. The store is like, this is a property, or you can call it key. And arrays allows us to gather data items into an ordered collection. And if you remember, we've always, whenever I want to talk about array, I'll say list of things, you know, because in array you have list of items. And in some other programming languages, like, what's it called? Like Python. I think in Python programming, they call arrays list. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Because if we check Python, sorry, what's my browser? That's strange. Okay, if we do Python array, or okay, you see that, or Python array, if we check in Python, instead of calling it array, they call it list. So you can see it, we have, what is an array in Python? So an array in the blah, 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 blah. So this is the main difference between arrays and lists. Why Python list can contain values. So you can read more about that. But in Python, I can say that what they call arrays in Python is list, but it's something we can read further about. So back to our class. So we have this object and array. But when we pass those to a function, let's say we want to have another function. If you want to pass an object to a function or an array to a function, you know, it may not need an object or an array as a whole, but rather individual pieces. Let's say I have a function and the only thing I need from this object is just the name. So I don't need to pass the whole object into you. For example, you can have an object that will be lines of thousands of code, just one object. So imagine you are talking about read1 and you are talking about his blood cells, his genotype, his phenotype, blah, blah, blah. You know, you have a lot of things about read1. So, and the only thing you need from this particular object is just the name. And you don't want to pass the whole thing into that function. So how do we do this? That is where the structuring comes into play. So let's see some examples. Let's say we have an array with my first name and my last name. So I'm going to delete this. So let's say we have, mind you, I'm going beyond the keyword var. I'm not using var again. Like I told us, moving forward, we have to forget our var, about our friend var, because he's in the past now, and we don't want to deal with someone like that. Uh, they are kind of buggy. So we want our new friend that is, he has a cool head, and it's very, very useful. So my name is my first name is Ridwan, and I have a list. So this is just a list of my names. So let's say I want to store my first name and my surname differently. You know, how do we do that? Before now, before the structuring, this is the way we used to do it before. We just do let first name, first name equals name and the first item there. So I'm storing the first item. And if you know, the first item here is already one. So I'm doing like this. And if I want to get my last name, I'm doing, if I do last name, and my last name is what, it's going to be whatever value that I have in what, the first index, index one. That is the second position. So if I do this now, if I go back into my browser, I can do, so if I check first name, I get read one. If I check last name, I get Balogun. But to me, this is kind of too much stress for me. And like I said, EF6 is here to make our life easier, to make our life much more beautiful. So the question you have in mind now is, okay, read one. What is that beautiful way of doing it? So instead of doing it this way, with destructuring, I can do something like let's since it's what, it's an array. So I want to get some values from this array. What is the value we want to get? The first value is I want to get the first name, and I want to get the last name from this. So I'm going to refresh this, and I'm going to copy this code there. So I will comment this out. So let me just move this here. Oops. So I'm moving this here. So here, what I want to get is I want to get my first name, my last name from this array, which is, the name array. So if I do it this way, and I go into my browser, and I do something like this. So if I check my first name now, my first name is Ridwan, and what is my last name? My last name is Balogun. This is beautiful. You can see that just one line of code. So instead of having these two lines of code, I have just one. So imagine that. Furthermore, okay, let me show us the syntax first. I think that would be the best thing. So the syntax is you do your const. If it is an array that you want to cross some things out, you use bracket. If you use square bracket, then whatever values you want to have, then equals to the name of that array, the variable name. So that is it. So let's say we have a list of items in an array, and I'm just interested in just one of the items. For example, let's say we have this info, which is an array that lists some information about read one. So I'm just going to copy this because I don't want to be typing that. And read one lives in Lagos, and read one loves football. And what else? Read one can cook, and he loves singing. So though he has a bad voice. So let's say these items, we have like 1 million items here, and I'm just interested in just the city. So how do I do that? Well, to get the name of this city, which is Lagos, which is the third item in the array, we could do something like this. So if I want to get that, I can do let's comma 1 2 the city equals info. So if I do this now, and I copy this into my browser, my console, let's see what we are going to get. So if I do this and I check what is city, you see that I get city equals Lakers. How beautiful that is. Don't worry, I know you are like, this is beautiful, but I still don't understand. With more examples, you really understand what we are trying to do. So in array destructuring, we use um, an array literal on the left hand side of an assignment expression. Each variable name on the array literal maps to the corresponding items at the same index of the destructured array. So this array over here is the destructured array, which is this, and whatever you put here is going to map whatever you put here. So for example, we have info and this. If I use, instead of name, if I use item here, so that means if I check what is item, it's going to map to that position. So if I check what is item, what do you think item is? Item variable is going to like store this read one value because it is the first item, and we have another one here. If I want to get can read one sync, I can do something like this. Can read one sync, I can do something like one, and it is where the first comma, then the second comma, the third comma, fourth comma, fifth one, then can sing. So if I do this, sing, not sound. Oops. So if I do this, I'm going to get, if I check the value of can sing, oops. Okay, I refreshed the some of it. So if I refresh, come on, I'm getting a lot of activities. So if I refresh can sing, oops, I actually visited the website by mistake. So if I do this, oh God, I need to recopy this. So if I do this, I come back here and I do this. If I check can sing, I get singing. So an array literal on the left hand side of an assignment expression, it's something you can use. Each variable name on the array literal maps to the corresponding item at the same index on the destructured array. So that is that for array destructuring. How about object destructuring? Object destructuring. Well, this is similar to array destructuring because destructuring assignment also works on it works with objects, and the basic syntax is let object, which is this curly braces. We can do variable. I'll use variable 1 to then variable 2, then equals that object. And in object, we will have property, let's say property 1, then value 1, property 2. Oops, what's this? Value 1, then property 2, and value 2. So this is just the basic syntax. For array destructuring, let me do that also, so that we can actually understand. Because once you understand that, then you can use the syntax. For array destructuring, we have let's, then the square bracket, then variable 1, the first variable, the second variable, okay, the second variable, the third variable, the fourth variable, I did that deliberately, equals that list of item, which is item 1, item 2, oops, item 2, item 3, item 4, and so on and so forth. So this is just for the syntax for both, for arrays and for objects. So now we have for object destruction, we have an existing object at the right hand side, which is this, the right hand side, that we want to split into variables. The left hand side contains a pattern for corresponding properties. For example, let's do, for example, if I just finished a movie and the name of the movie is something we've all seen. The title of the movie is Money Heist. So I just finished it some weeks back, and the season, let's say the season 5, and it has episode, for the episode that we want to store is 13 inside this object. So this is a movie object. So if we want to get the title of this particular movie from this movie object, initially what we do is we do title, let title equals movie.title. That's how we used to do it in the past. Movie.title. If you want to get the season, we do let season equals movie.season. And if we want to get the episode, we're going to store the movie.episode. So this is what we do, in the past, and we have to be typing. So if I copy this now and we go into, I hope if I do this now, if I check title, I get this. If I check episode, I get 13, which is correct. So, but this is kind of stressful. I just have to be typing this over and over again. So with destructuring makes life easier. Instead of writing these 3 lines of code before you get the title, the season, and everything, you can do something like this. You can do let's, then we have the brackets, curly brackets, title that I want to get. I want to get the season also, and I also want to get the episode. Just like we have with arrays, equals the name of the object, which is movie. So if, let me just delete this, or what can we do? Let me comment it out. So if I do this now, if I come back here and I refresh, let me copy the movie. So let's go back. Let's say I want to copy the movie. So if I come back here, oops, come on. So copy it here. So if I do the object restructuring, so if I go back and I do the restructuring, if I do this now, if I check the title, oops, I have my title as Money East, to see that I have the episode there. So the structuring helps us with, instead of you typing and retyping codes, you can just do it with one line and we are done. Life is beautiful. Imagine that. Just one line and everything is fine. So that is what restructuring, helps us with. Properties like movies.title, like this. Let me uncomment this out. We have movie.title, movie.season, movie.episode are assigned to their corresponding variables, like we have here. So another thing is, another way we can actually do this also is we can do something like this. We can do something like let's, it's, or let me say it's the same thing. If we do like, instead of commenting this out, let's just copy this and comment it out. So we can do something like this. So it's the same thing as doing it like this. So if we do this, it's the same thing. So this title matches what is here, season matches what is here, episode matches what is here. So if you want to assign a property to a variable with another name, for instance, let's say, you know, we have movies.title and we want it to go into the variable named name, then we can use semicolon. For example, let's say the name of my movie is what? Spider-Man. So this is another movie, Spider-Man, and the chapter of that is what? Let chapter equals 56. Yep. So I can do something like this, you know. I'm just going to comment this out. So for every example, I have to be commenting them out so that we we get to like see the new things I'm trying to do. So I have this. I can say let the title to be now equals to the name that I have above, and the season I want it to be the same, but the episode it's something that has changed. It has changed to the chapter variable, and this equals movie. So if I do this now, if I check, let's console the log. So let me refresh this so that before we come back, because so I can do console the log. If I check name now and I console the log, let's console the log. What else? Chapter. So if I console the log chapter, so let's see what we have. So I'm going to copy all this into the console. So if I do this now, oops, console the log, name has already been declared. Oh, wow. So let's change this. Okay, let me use, let's use, what's it called? Okay, don't worry. So I'm going to refresh this, then I'm going to recopy this again. So actually, instead of title, I want it to be name. So I want the name to map to title. So I can just do this. If I do this now, and I enter this, I have name to be equals to. So if I check name now, instead of title, I have this. And if I do movie.title, I still have this. So if I check, what was it called, the chapter, I have 13. If I do movie dot episode, I have 13. So that is dynamic. So what I want to explain here is, the colon, this particular colon here, shows this is what goes where. So what goes where? So in the example above, the property titles go to name, and the property episode goes to chapter. So that is that about object destructuring. So I need to pause the video here so that in case you want to check later, probably you want to rewatch, you'll be able to really understand. So I'm going to cut